All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's 3:02, calling the meeting to order. Mauricio?
Thank you. Commissioner Joseph,
Present.
Vice Mayor Viscara,
Here.
Mayor Svechin.
Here.
And for the record, Commissioner Stuyvesant is not here. Oh, yes, she is. She's in the back. And then Commissioner Lama is running a little behind.
Yes, we would normally wait, but we have a pretty long agenda, so let's proceed, please.
Okay. Mayor and Commissioners, we have just a couple of changes to the agenda. Item number 2G is being deferred to April. However, we did receive an email from Commissioner Regalao's office requesting for a flag to be flown for the month of April. And I believe that warrants a discussion amongst the commission as far as directing staff to have that done. So
we have to do that during this meeting?
Preferably.
Okay.
You know.
All right, so then we have that then just as an additional discussion item at the end?
Yes.
Okay. And then the other change?
Okay. And then the other change is we're adding a special recognition to the agenda, and it will be done at some point. I'll mention when.
Okay, and what else?
And that's all.
2D.
2D, I am so sorry. Yes, correct. 2D is being moved to the 6:30 meeting if the commission agrees, because I forgot her name. I'm so sorry.
Toby Barron.
Toby Barron, yes, requested for it to be done because of inconvenience at 3 o'clock.
Okay. All right, so we're adding a discussion item, and we're moving 2D, and we are moving 2G to April.
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
All right. Any objections? Okay.
Thank you. So we'll start with 2A, which is a proclamation for flood awareness. And I'll just read the proclamation into the record for that. And the proclamation reads, whereas flooding is one of the most common and costly natural hazards in the United States, and coastal communities such as the city of Sunny Isles Beach are particularly vulnerable to flooding caused by heavy rainfall, storm surge, king tides, and other weather-related events. And whereas the safety and resilience of our community depend on public awareness, preparedness, and proactive efforts by residents, businesses, and government agencies to reduce flood risk and protect lives and property. And whereas Flood Awareness Week provides an opportunity to educate residents about flood hazards, encourage the adoption of flood protection measures, promote the purchase of flood insurance, and highlight the importance of maintaining drainage systems and protecting natural floodplains. And whereas the city remains committed to strengthening flood mitigation efforts, supporting emergency preparedness initiatives, and working collaboratively with regional, state, and federal partners to enhance community resilience against flooding and other environmental challenges. And whereas increasing awareness of flood risk and preparedness action helps safeguard the well-being of residents, protect property, and preserve the vitality of the city of Sunny Isles Beach community for future generations. Now, therefore, do I, Larissa Svechin as mayor, and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, hereby proclaim March 9th through the 15th as Flood Awareness Week.
Okay.
Then the next one will be a proclamation for Procurement Professionals Day. And we'll call up our procurement team at the end. Okay, so we're going to read the next two together, which is 2B, Proclamation for Procurement Professionals Day, and 2C, Proclamation for Transit Driver Day. And if you just give me 1 second, I'll read that right now. So the proclamation for the Procurement Professionals Day reads, whereas procurement professionals serve a vital role in government operations by ensuring that public funds are spent responsibly, transparently and in accordance with applicable laws and regulations, and whereas through their expertise in contract administration, strategic sourcing, and vendor management, procurement professionals help safeguard taxpayer resources while enabling municipalities to deliver essential services efficiently and effectively. And whereas these dedicated professionals uphold the highest standards of ethics, fairness, and accountability, fostering public trust and promoting open and competitive purchasing practices that benefit both the community and the business community. Whereas Procurement Professionals Day, observed annually on the second Wednesday in March, provides an opportunity to recognize the important contributions of procurement practitioners who work diligently behind the scenes to support the mission and operations of local governments and public agencies. And whereas the City of Sunny Isles Beach recognizes and appreciates the commitment, professionalism, and integrity demonstrated by procurement professionals who ensure that public purchasing processes remain fair, transparent, and in the best interest of the community. Now, therefore, do I, Lursus Fetchin, and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, hereby proclaim March 11, 2026 as Procurement Professionals Day in the city. And the proclamation for Transit Drivers Day. Whereas public transit drivers provide an essential service that helps connect residents, workers, and visitors to jobs, schools, healthcare, and community resources each day. And whereas transit drivers demonstrate professionalism, patience, and dedication while safely navigating roadways, managing schedules, and assisting passengers of all backgrounds. And whereas these dedicated professionals often work eager early mornings, late evenings, weekends, and holidays to ensure reliable and accessible transportation for the communities they serve. And whereas Transit Driver Appreciation Day, observed annually on March 18th, recognizes the vital role transit drivers play in strengthening mobility, economic opportunity, and quality of life in communities across the nation. And whereas the City of Sunny Isles Beach recognizes and appreciates the hard work, commitment, and public service provided by transit drivers who help keep our region moving safely and efficiently. Now, therefore, do I, Lursus Fetchin, and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, hereby proclaim March 18th as Transit Drivers Day in the City of Sunny Isles Beach.
Thank you.
Call.
I just let me say that how vitally important it is to recognize employees in the City of Sunny Isles Beach, and how important it is to have them stick around as long as possible. And looking out into the audience, I don't know if the camera could face that way. There's so many people here that have been with the city for so many years, and I can certainly say on behalf of the entire commission that we appreciate you and we appreciate your commitment to the city. You know, the procurement department is sort of the back-facing, so nobody sees what they do, but we feel it. And the transit drivers are the front-facing, often, you know, really the face of the city, and do so many wonderful things for the residents that we don't see. So, you know, I thank you for your work, and I'm very glad that we're able to acknowledge you. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, wait, sorry. If we could please bring up for flood awareness, Nicole and Dylan. Nicole is our new floodplain manager.
Okay.
Welcome. For procurement, Anastasia, Genesis, and the new addition to their team, Evelyn. Please come up. Evelyn was a steal from CCS. And for transit drivers, Todd Nobles will be accepting on behalf of all the drivers who are on the road right now.
So we'll have them in the front,
All
and then
right
we'll
here?
be in the back here? Yeah, I think so. So this way we get a better picture. Susan, would you like to be in the picture? Just in time. We waited for you, Alex.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll move it.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't think this is even.
Huh?
Is this?
You told them not to wait?
Do you want us to move over?
Is it okay?
Well, because they have the podium,
Shift
so.
to the
All
left.
right, so we'll shift. We'll shift.
Okay. It's easier if we do. Microphone, shift to the
Yeah,
left.
the whole point.
Oh. Sorry. I'm too short to be behind.
Yeah, yeah. We'll both. Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you all. Congratulations.
All right. So I don't know what, something, it's better.
Okay. And Mayor,
Yes,
do you mind if I do a special recognition?
please do. Please
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
I have the distinct honor of bringing to your attention that we have a national award winner amongst our staff. As recreation manager for the city, Jonathan was selected from hundreds of applicants to be awarded the prestigious National Recreation and Parks Association 30 Under 30 Award.
Bravo.
I'm not done. This program recognizes recreation professionals that have excelled in their career before turning 30, recognizing that in a field of hundreds of thousands nationwide, there are stars that shine extra bright. So, Jonathan. We all know Jonathan to be fun, energetic, team player, someone who's very charismatic, and everybody enjoys being around Jonathan. He brings joy to everything he does, even the challenging moments where nothing goes right. For this award specifically, he was recognized for his leadership and implementation of new programming as it relates to our senior population. Under his direction, he has launched more than 20 unique programs and more than 60 different sessions per month. These all range in activity from concert series, fitness, health, wellness, education, and free enrichment programs. Jonathan exemplifies the true meaning of mission first and team player. On a separate note, I just wanted to mention, I remember Jonathan specifically because he and I spent Christmas together. Unfortunately, was here working, but he and I worked an event together, and we were the only ones during that Christmas day, but I appreciated him so much being here and helping me with the event. So I've always remembered that, and I wanted to thank Jonathan specifically for his service and congratulate him on
Thank
this
you.
award.
I'm gonna add to it that, you mentioned Jonathan's smile during the city anniversary when it was pouring rain, and it seemed like it was gonna rain the entire day or evening. Jonathan was literally like dancing and smiling, and just there was no way to bring him down. And I know that certainly the seniors, but the entire resident population really enjoys being around you and appreciates you, and certainly we do all as well. So this is very, very well deserved, and I didn't realize you were so young. So congratulations on being under 30 as well. So, okay, well, we can go down to that. Yes, let's go down to that.
Oh, nice.
Really nice. Get to keep
It's insane.
Under 30.
Whatever.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
I'm gonna nominate you for
Do
60,
this
number
every
60.
month. All right, Mauricio?
Okay, so the next three proclamations will be all heard together, and I'll just read them into the record. It'll be a proclamation for Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, proclamation for Women's History Month, and a proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month. The proclamation.
Mauricio, if may I want to co-sponsor the colorectal awareness month and also the autism acceptance month. 2E and 2G.
Okay, 2E, 2G was deferred until April, so we'll add that. Okay, so
Jerry also wants to co-sponsor that.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect, we'll do.
Thank you.
Okay, so the proclamation for colorectal cancer awareness one reads, whereas colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States among men and women combined, and whereas in 2026, more than 150,000 Americans are expected to be diagnosed with colorectal cancer and more than 52,000 are projected to die from the disease, and whereas colorectal cancer is one of the few cancers that can be prevented with timely screening, yet approximately 1 in 3 eligible Americans are not up to date on recommended screening. And whereas colorectal cancer is increasingly affecting younger adults and is projected to become the leading cause of cancer among individuals aged 20 through 49 by 2030. And whereas Black Americans are about 20% more likely to be diagnosed with colorectal cancer and about 40% more likely to die from the disease than other racial and ethnic groups. And whereas colorectal cancer is expected to account for approximately 11% of cancer deaths among Hispanic men and 9% among Hispanic women. And whereas screening rates declined during the COVID-19 pandemic and have not yet fully returned to pre-pandemic levels nationwide. And whereas the National Colorectal Cancer Roundtable has established a national goal of increasing colorectal cancer screening rates to 80% in every community for all Americans eligible for screening. And whereas education, advocacy, and awareness are critical in reducing the incidence and impact of colorectal cancer on individuals, families, and communities. And whereas observing Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month during the month of March provides an opportunity to promote education, encourage screening, and support those affected by the disease. Now, therefore, do I, Larissa Fetchin, and as mayor, and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, hereby proclaim the month of March 2026 as Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Sunny Isles Beach. The proclamation for Women's History Month reads, whereas women of every race, class, ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways, and whereas women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. And whereas women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force of the country, and whereas women particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our nation. And whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. And whereas the 2026 Women's History theme is Leading the Change, Women Shaping a Sustainable Future, honors women who are rebuilding systems, fostering environmental, economic, and social equity, and designing a more resilient, inclusive future for both people and the planet. And whereas the City of Sunny Isles Beach recognizes the extraordinary achievements and ongoing contributions of women locally, nationally, and around the world, and encourages residents to reflect upon the honor and accomplishments of women who have helped shape our society. Now, therefore, do I, Larissa Fetchin, and as mayor and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, hereby proclaim March 2026 as Women's History Month in the City of Sunny Isles Beach. And finally, the Proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month reads, whereas children are our nation's most vulnerable members as well as our nation's most valuable resources, helping to shape our future, and whereas positive childhood experiences like loving caregivers and safe, stable, and nurturing relationships can help mitigate trauma and the negative impact of adverse childhood experiences to promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas childhood trauma can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects throughout the individual's lifetime and impact future generations of their family. And whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, is a serious problem affecting every community in the U.S., and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. And whereas children who live in families with access to concrete economic and social support are less likely to experience abuse and neglect, and whereas prevention is possible because of the partnerships created between families, prevention advocates, child welfare professionals, faith-based organizations, and local, state, and national governments, especially law enforcement agencies. And whereas we acknowledge that in order to solve the public health issue of abuse and neglect, we must work together to change hearts and mindsets through storytelling and sharing, center the needs of families, break down bias and barriers, and inspire action from expected and unexpected partners in prevention. And whereas we are committed to advancing equitable, responsive, and effective systems that ensure all children and families are healthy and thriving. And whereas we recognize the need to prioritize kids and invest in more prevention initiatives like home visiting and family strengthening policies, economic supports, and community-based child abuse prevention programs at the national, state, and local levels. Now, therefore, do I, Larissa Svechin, as mayor and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Thank you, Mauricio. I just want to say a few things, and I'm sure that my colleagues probably do as well. Regarding the colon rectal cancer, as you read it, it touches so many people, but really the person that brought this to us initially and pushed so hard is the late Michael Stern. May his memory be a blessing. He was a commissioner in Aventura, and he worked steadfastly to bring awareness to this horrible disease. So I want to make sure to give him credit for that. And anything that we can do as a city to bring attention to that, to the importance of screening, I would fully support. And then regarding my other item, the child abuse awareness. It doesn't only touch communities that don't have resources. It definitely touches our community. I know that the vice mayor, I don't know if currently was guardian ad litem. I'm a volunteer guardian ad litem, and it's such an important topic to not forget how our most vulnerable residents need to be supported, and how we shouldn't forget how important it is to acknowledge them as well. And I applaud, Commissioner Stuyvesant and Vice Mayor for recognizing women's history awareness. That's obviously very important. Did anyone else want to say anything about the items that they've sponsored?
Just, I'd just like to say that regarding Child Abuse Month, Jody and I are foster parents, and we've been trained and we understand how much abuse there is out there, child abuse, and it's just something that can't be overlooked, and it is prevalent everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. I forgot you mentioned that last year, I think. Okay.
May I say something?
Of course.
So regarding child abuse, I just wanted to see if we could put something out with the media department. For instance, the child abuse hotline is 1-800-962-2873. So if we could put something out there for people to see and have some resources where they could report this if they see something, it'll be great, I think.
Yeah. I agree with that. There's plenty of resources out there, but perhaps people can't find them.
But sometimes people can't find them, yeah.
And if we can put it out there
little
in Spanish
push,
and
yeah.
in Russian as well.
Yeah.
As-
And then obviously Michael Stern, I think, very dear friend and colleague, and he was a great person. So yeah, I think he'll always be in our hearts and minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, if you don't mind, we have a couple of our regulars from Gateway, a couple of women here who were invited to celebrate Women's Day with us. So if you don't mind, they're not paying any attention. Excuse me.
Ladies?
Ladies. Hi, enjoyed your cookie? You want to come up and get a picture with the proclamation for Women's Day?
Yes, please. All right, let's go down for that, yes.
Your friend too.
Looks like a rock also.
Okay, thank you for that. All right. Mauricio?
Okay, we're now on to discussion items.
Okay.
Item 3A is a discussion item regarding procurement of AV equipment and event planning for resident-only FIFA World Cup watch parties by
Okay.
Commissioner Stuyvesant.
This Tuesday, I was in DC, and we had a meeting with the State Department people, and they consider sports diplomacy as one of their priorities right now. So I have a memo that I make to share with you guys. So I'm going to read some part of it. So today I'm bringing forward a vision that combines community building with strict fiscal responsibility. The U.S. State Department runs an entire sports diplomacy division. They explicitly use sports and organize watch parties at embassies around the world to transcend cultural barriers, unite foreign nations, and build goodwill. They do this because sports are the universal language. Therefore, shared space to watch these global events is one of the most powerful ways we can truly use to build a community right here at home. Unfortunately, because we currently lack the permanent infrastructure, Sunny Isles Beach has missed out. We completely missed the World Baseball Classic, the Winter Olympics, Copa America, Grand Prix, NASCAR, and others. But we have a chance to change that. We have massive future experiences coming directly to us, including FIFA 26 and the Olympics, and annual ongoing events like the Super Bowl and NBA Finals and more. So to capture these moments, my proposal today is not about buying or rolling out a temporary screen. We could build a beautiful permanent architectural feature on the west side of the Gateway Park lawn. Look at the AI. It's a simple AI rendering. They combine kind of the nostalgic of the 1960s drive-in movie, but with the updated 21st century and state-of-the-art technology. So I'm bringing this forward for us to consider instead of just buying something that has to be on and off, in and out, to build something permanent. That's it.
May I add something? I'd like to add something to what you said. Yeah, we're both in DC with the National League of Cities. So also, obviously, these type of events bring a lot of security challenges, let's say. So there is money also to implement extra security. So we could look into tapping into that as well from the federal government.
Yeah, because of the human trafficking issue and all of that.
Yes.
But this is like specifically to.
No, I understand. I just
Yeah.
wanted to mention.
No, but
yeah.
thank you for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
to give the direction to start considering having somewhere where imagine we can have like every other week movie nights, you name it, you know. So we can have watch party for residents for different type of events. Again, we are doing this around the world. We should be doing it here also in Sunny Isles, especially with the population that we have that is so diverse from everywhere. And also, we have a lot of sport fans in here. So,
Okay.
so I'm bringing it for you guys to your attention.
Commissioner Joseph? Anything?
I absolutely agree with this, to bring to Sunny Isles the latest technology that that assists its citizens in enjoying sports events and movies and other things, since we don't have an indoor theater. And I know that actually at the anniversary, I was speaking to one of the technology people regarding the screens there, and they were saying how just in the last 6 to 8 months, how the technology has changed to have the ability to have all of these screens outdoors, 24/7. So I believe this would be a great thing for Sunny Isles as well.
Okay.
Yeah, even the cruise ships, they have it now. So if they can do with the weather, we can do it as well. And Mauricio, I want to put the memo as part of the agenda package, please. Okay.
What, did you explore how much this costs?
No, I would not. Well, they gave me an initial number. I think it was really low. They say it was around $80,000. I believe it's more than that, depending on what we use. But that was somebody who did it in Middle America.
Mm-hmm.
And they had tornadoes there. So that's when we were talking about that. So, and again, just exploring the option to have it there. I think it's just like some legacy that we can leave here also for the people in the city.
Well, I support anything that's going to allow the residents to have more access to something like this. My biggest concern and regret has always been that we don't have anything indoor, so that the chances of us being able to utilize something like this fully is almost 50-50 based on the weather. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes we probably made years and years and years ago, was not to build an indoor.
With Gateway.
Whatever, yeah, that's not the only place,
Well,
but Vice Mayor, what would you like to add?
Well, we talked about this a little bit in the budget workshop. So, I mean, I thought we were already sort of toying with the idea. So, it's part of the budget conversation.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's hard to have this conversation without numbers, so sure. We have, I believe we were supposed to give you a list of
Yes.
items.
And specifically, we had FIFA in the budget, and we took that out. So the challenges with this are, well, there's a few, not the least of which is the budget, and ultimately it's up to you all as the commission. But we've had pre-meetings with the police department concerning FIFA specifically, and we have some concerns about watch party, obviously for safety with everything that's going on in the world today. So we would have to consider that aspect of it. At our last event, the city anniversary party between Ocean Rescue and the police department, we had almost 30 personnel just for that.
Right.
So when you're considering this, you have to also consider the cost for the safety part of it.
Right, the open air is also not great because of that. Okay. All right, well, it could be part of the discussion for the budget.
Yeah, but this is not only for FIFA. It's like for ongoing, for like movies for children, classic golden Hollywood era movies. So I'm thinking really ahead, not specifically for one sporting event, but like I said, kind of like a legacy thing of the city to have to give access to everybody instead of just putting a little or a big whatever screen and moving it from Heritage to Town Center, whatever, to have a specific place where we can. I mean, I had this in the 80s in the country club in Venezuela. And we are here in 2026, and we might think that it's not doable. So like I said, I grew in petroleum compounds, and so we have really the latest technology back then in those areas. But it was a place to get together. So that's what I'm saying. Thinking ahead, doing things that they are gonna be there for many years for the people to have access to.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we could do something like a pop-up on the stage. The existing stage, if we could, I don't know what the height is, but if it's deep enough that we could do a pop-up screen, it would be better for security, for vandalism. So I'd like to look into that as well.
Yeah, anything, like the technology is out there, Jerry. Like all the options are available. We just need to have the willing to do it. And about the weather as well. I mean, my kids, they do it sports, and they do it in the rain as well, unless it's lightning. Yesterday, our little ones were doing soccer in the field, and it was raining. So if if it's okay to watch the people getting wet, you can get wet when you're watching them as well. So, yeah, people that do sports, and they get it.
Okay.
So I like the idea of watch parties. I mean, when we had the one for the Miami Heat, it was great. A lot of people showed up. Everybody had fun. Well, the Heat won, so that was great. And obviously, I would like to see the cost of this, and then we will need to analyze whether it's good to. You said to build it. I don't know what that exactly entails. Or do we buy a special screen? I'm not sure what, how it works. But my question would be, would it be better to build it, own it, or just contract that out? Because technology nowadays is, moving so fast that I don't want for us to build something and then 2 years down the road is obsolete and there's some sort of new technology. So I think those are all considerations that we must include in these conversations and, looking at budgets and costs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm for watch parties. And then I understand the mayor's point too, to have something indoors. But when you're having a watch party for FIFA, for the World Cup, or you're talking about the NBA playoffs or finals, I don't know how many people we could accommodate in an inside space, based on what we have currently.
No, I'm not necessarily suggesting that we need to have an inside space. I wish we did, is my point.
Yes.
I think that we just lost that opportunity. But this is definitely a budget conversation because this has a lot of pieces to it that are not specific to that are not just limited to the screen. Okay. Next item.
Next item is 3B, a 2026 legislative update by Vice Mayor Vizcarra.
Okay, you're up, Vice Mayor.
So the session is over, and yet it isn't. So it's kind of like last year. But what I wanted to do is take you through our website, because that's where we've been tracking and just kind of walk you down memory lane. So based on the outcomes that we wanted in our particular list, it's a tie between outcomes we wanted and outcomes we didn't want. We're 4-4. And then the property taxes are still up in the air. So the land development regulations, which is the first one, that's House Bill 399, This is the one that we really did not want to move forward, and it did, and it passed. And this is going to mean that our building a permit fee structure is going to have to be looked at. But if we contact Governor DeSantis and say, pretty please, don't sign it, that's basically where we're at right now. So if you can text him, pretty please, this would be the thing to do it on. The cleanup bills for SB 180, those also died. We received an email about that. I don't know if you guys saw it, because Alan has been keeping us updated on that. So what this means is, the cities were hoping that they would have been helped by this. So a couple of things. Litigation will continue, and now that the legislation failed, we may get more plaintiffs supporting and maybe even paying towards it. The claims suits against government, this is a sovereign immunity that raises the amounts that people can sue the government for. So we opposed it just because when you're being attacked from all fronts, anything that's going to work against you, you oppose it. But there was one bill that was much crazier than the other one, and we all agree that an increase is appropriate, but it's just that the things that are proposed are always sounding so unreasonable. So what ultimately passed was, it's not too crazy. So I still put it in the negative because we opposed it, but I would say I'm a little bit neutral on this one. But for us as a city, it may, I think we may need to reevaluate our insurance coverage, and certainly for the building department, I don't envy whoever has to figure that one out. The local business tax failed. We were opposing it, so that's a good outcome for us. And that one is a zombie bill. We had seen it before. We'll probably see it again, but at least this year we can call it a win. The expenditure of public funds by local government also did not pass. This one died in Rules and Ethics Committee, so that's a good outcome for us. The prohibited uses of public funds by political subdivisions, which are cities, are political subdivisions. That one also failed. That one died in the Intergovernmental Affairs Subcommittee, so that's a good outcome for us. The community association management, which we supported, like we want condos to have professionals managing them, and for those professionals to have licenses, all that good stuff. Yeah, that one did not pass. And finally, this one was also a zombie bill, nature-based coastal resilience solutions. This one passed all its committees last year, and then it just all dressed up and nowhere to go. But this year it passed. So that's a win for us. And the property tax items didn't pass. However, these are probably going to be taken up in a special session. So we'll see. So that one is not over yet. So that's our annual review. I think we're 4-4. I guess if we're in the it's a tie for us in terms of
smoking in restaurants. That failed also.
Are you asking me or telling me?
Asking.
I don't know. I wasn't following it.
When is the special session?
I don't know.
They haven't scheduled it yet, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think
but
they did.
We do have Ben. If you do have that information, do you happen to know?
And for those
do you mind? I'm sorry. Sorry.
Ben.
For those of you that are watching, we progressively, and certainly with the help of this commission, but specifically Vice Mayor, have gotten more and more involved in Tallahassee, because so much of what the public wants, we can only affect so much. So that's what this review was what's happening in Tallahassee that affects our residents. But please go ahead. When is the special session?
Good afternoon,
Yes.
Mayors and Commissioners. The special session should be sometime in April, potentially May. And I know that the Senate President talked about in a communique that they'll take up, obviously, the budget. They have to pass that, but then also the ad valorem. And I did also see the coastal resiliency bill was signed by the governor today.
It was
so-
signed.
Yes, it
Oh,
was, yeah.
wonderful.
So
Okay.
that's the latest.
So no pretty please on that one.
Nope,
Okay.
that's
We're
signed,
good to
yeah.
go.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor.
Next item is 3C, a discussion regarding personal mobile delivery devices.
Okay,
Mayor.
please.
Mayor, this came up recently as I sent you all some information regarding these mobile delivery devices. We received a lot of questions and concerns from the residents, and I asked the code director to put together a very brief presentation. We were able to look at some other cities' ordinances to show what we can and can't do regarding these.
Okay, and do we have a picture of this so that we can show people what this is, or no? No.
Unfortunately not.
All right, well, I imagine those that know, okay.
So, good
Please.
afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Yes, as you all are aware, these delivery robots are presently in service in the city of Sunny Isles Beach, as state law does allow for this. We reviewed a Miami Beach ordinance that addresses them. It's really the only ordinance that I've found of any city locally. There's also state regulations that we must comply with. There may be an opportunity for us to add our own regulations, particularly perhaps some of the ones similar to the city of Miami Beach. We're considering these regulations, and some of these include, where these devices can be dropped off and picked up. It also includes, how we can prohibit them to limit certain disruptions, where they can stop and pick up, where they can't, such as certain public places, limit the certain times and locations based on events, if the city's having an event, or if a religious institution doesn't want any of them to stop in front of their property. These are some of the things that we're looking at to see if we can implement. We can also limit the certain times, the idle times, the times that, how long can they be stopped on a sidewalk. And one of the other things that we may be able to limit as well is the speed limit, so their speed limit. So we're here to listen to, any concerns or suggestions that you may have for us so that we can consider them in a potential action.
I have a few questions.
Okay.
I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
The company or companies that deploy them, do we know who they are?
Yes, there's one main company. There's several of them, but the main player's name is Serve Robotics.
And did they call us? Did they contact us, or they just decided to appear at 2 o'clock in the morning? And
So we reached out to them. We did speak with them.
but they did just appear.
What they explained to us is that they had some other ones, but very few ones within the city. They did deploy a bunch of them, as everyone saw. Not all of them were for the city of Sunny Isles Beach. They just happened to drop them off here. Some of them made their way down as far as Surfside, is what we were told.
And so what sort of, if any business is operating in the city of Sunny Isles Beach, they have to get a local business license. They have to have insurance. So how are these being treated, or are they just being treated like scooters?
So it's one of the things that we're looking into. They're actually, from what we gather and from the feedback we've received, and I've been in contact with other municipalities about business tax receipt requirements, more than likely, but again, we're looking into this, is that they'll operate as Ubers, and so they may not require a business tax receipt because they don't have a footprint in the city. They're dropped off and picked up daily is their intention. So really, they're just delivery devices to deliver food or documents.
Because we have a time limit of how long Ubers and various delivery trucks can stand idling, and I believe it's no more than 5 minutes, something like that.
It's 15 minutes.
We
but
allow 15 minutes for Ubers to stand on the street?
I believe, actually, we're prohibited from state statutes from stopping them, but the statute actually, these devices are a little bit different because statute kind of treats them as and gives them similar rights to pedestrians specifically. And so they preempt us from.
Please, Alan, that just scared me.
Exactly. They have the same rights and responsibilities as a pedestrian.
So we're prohibited from prohibiting them.
Wow. I'm lost actually for
So,
words. What,
let-
anybody else, Commissioner?
When I spoke to Julio, we discussed it and he told me that, so I was just flabbergasted that they're treated as pedestrians.
There's a little leeway and it's vague, and that's why some cities are, this is brand new for everyone. So it's like when the scooters started invading cities about 10 years ago, the commercial
The rental
ones,
ones, right? Mhm.
Everybody sort of had to catch up, but 3162071, which authorizes these, does make reference to another statute, 316.008. There's one sentence in there that says that this paragraph does not restrict a county or municipality from otherwise adopting regulations for the safe operation of personal delivery devices and mobile carriers. What does that mean? So that's where these things are going to be tested and we're looking at. So Miami Beach, for example, is requiring them to retrofit, to the extent they don't have them now, certain lighting requirements, certain flags. I don't know if you've seen some of them. Some of them have flags. They require all of them to have flags. But there's a long lead-in time because obviously if they have to retrofit all these things, you know, that you may have to give them several months for them to adapt. But those types of things, speed limits are nice, but how do you clock one of these and how do you give it a ticket, you know? So there may be a registry component also that we could put in there because that's what was done with the scooters in a lot of jurisdictions where even though by state statute they're required to have information on them that identifies who they are, where the, you know, and so on and so forth, we could also have a registry potentially where if you're going to operate in the city, you have to register so we have even more information should we have a problem. You know, if one of these falls over and it's sitting there for a half hour, we could have restrictions saying that if it falls over, you got an hour to pick it up. If you don't pick it up, we're taking it.
But even an hour, we would just leave.
That's just arbitrary.
No,
It could be
but
5
that's a
minutes.
very good point. If one of these breaks down or falls over, what do? We just wait?
In some other jurisdictions, I don't know if you've seen, some of them have gotten where they have railroad tracks. They
Well,
got stuck on the
Oh, the
railroad
railroad
tracks. Got hit
tracks
by a
I saw
train.
where they
One of the things that
carry, yeah.
they mentioned to us is that they usually have somebody within 30 minutes or so that can appear and try to help them. If not, they say that a lot of residents and people that see them tipped over, they usually try to help them out. But
Mr. City Manager, would you like to add something?
I was just going to say that based on the research we've put together, we can have a draft ordinance for you next month to review that incorporates a lot of what we've learned so far. The main thing I wanted to let you know is that we cannot ban them, but there are a number of regulations which include identification, insurance requirements, and limitations on idle time. So those would be things that we build into the ordinance, but we could have that back for you next month if that's your desire, and if you have anything additional we'd like to add,
I'd like to know what they're doing, meaning is it local restaurants that have requested it because it's cheaper for them than hiring Uber drivers? Like, is this something that is in response to small businesses?
so they actually do a lot of market analysis before they bring these into a city. And from what they've told us, there's approximately 21 businesses that have signed up with them to take orders and deliver them to individuals.
Okay, and I guess what I'd like to know is how do they get upstairs?
They don't. So they're not allowed to go onto any private property. So they can only really be on the right of way. So for example, if somebody pulls up to one of the buildings on the east side of Collins, an individual would have to come out to the sidewalk and pick up the food.
So they don't go into the lobbies, they have to go in the,
They're
the
not
person is to-
supposed. Yeah, they're not supposed to go into any private property.
okay, so just right then and then, I think that they're gonna become obsolete, because that's not very convenient at all, because we're a condo city, so. Yeah, that was really my only question, was this a push by the small businesses, by the restaurants? Does anyone else have anything to ask or add?
I do.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, Jen.
Please, Vice Mayor.
Did you say that there's no limit on the hours of operation? Or is that something that we could do in the ordinance?
I don't believe so.
There's
I don't-
no, the state statute doesn't have time limitations.
Yeah.
It has some limitations with regard, well, for example, the insurance. They have to carry $100,000 worth of insurance. They have to yield to pedestrians, whatever that means. You know, those types of things, but the that's one of the things that Julio was looking into,
Yeah.
is possibly hours of operation, presuming they don't make any noise, you know, because if you do say, well, you can only operate certain hours, if it's too late, you know, if it makes a noise, I don't know, but
Well,
we'll have to look into that.
and the other thing I was thinking, first of all, if they're only allowed on the sidewalks and they're actually gonna follow the rules, I agree. You know, somebody on the 20th floor coming, I mean, for that, they'll just do Uber Eats, or, you know, that actually comes to your door. But the other thing I was thinking is, can we require, if we can put the time limitations, can we require them to be picked up? That, you know, if they say that's their intention, then do it and hold it to it, so that at 10 p.m. or whatever it is, they gotta be gone.
So what we got to look at is to see if they're treated as pedestrians, you know, can we limit the time that they're out here? That's the thing we have to still look at.
That's what's so difficult with these things is, that's what Leo said, they're treated as pedestrians. So there's a component to it, you know, it does affect interstate commerce, so there may be some federal regulations on that too we have to look at, but that may be more difficult, but it's certainly one of the things I think all these cities are looking into. It's uncharted territory at this point, so we're
Well, but
a lot of it might be trial and error.
if we're gonna be creative, now would be the time, right? Because it's uncharted territory, and push it, you know, in the best you can. And you know, when something is declared with the same rights as a pedestrian, I mean, pedestrians can't just do whatever they want either, right?
Right, but I suspect the hours are market-driven. Obviously, at 3 in the morning, there's not going to be a high demand for food to be delivered necessarily.
Okay, well, then great. Then at 3 a.m., come pick them up, right?
But they're
They
still gonna
may
be sitting
not want
around
to.
somewhere.
Nothing good happens after 12.
Nothing, yeah, it's true.
No, I think that I agree. It's not necessarily they're gonna be driving around. Where are they gonna wait?
Yeah, where's their resting
Yeah.
place?
So, because I know that if they try to park or stand in our, like Sampson, that's where a bunch of them were, then I'm hoping we have the ability to tow them or whatever it is you do with them.
Well, we're looking into that as well, because again, challenging. So under state law, you can't block a sidewalk, right? So if you're completely blocked, let's say you have 15 of them staged in one area and they're completely blocking the sidewalk, that's unlawful. But from a law enforcement standpoint, it's a little difficult to give a ticket to a robot, right? So logistically, we have to look into how the cities are and how we can get to the company. You know, that's why the registries are important, the information that's on there is, but we can't necessarily give a moving violation to a robot, right? So,
What if a tow truck picks it up?
well, the problem is they're not registered vehicles, so you can't take them to, you can't really take them to a tow yard. Tow yards won't take them because they're not registered
Right.
vehicles. So you can necessarily potentially take them, but you'd have to be set up to store them on site here somewhere in the city. Obviously, inventory them and have a record of them being here and have a process where they can pick them up.
But if we could have an outside company do it rather than us, then that would be ideal.
It's
if we
a lot more
yeah.
expensive.
So if we could somehow require that they be registered with some kind of registration, then we could have a tow truck company pick them up. And then it's their responsibility.
We've been told that usually they have been picking them up around 10 or 11 anyways. At least that's been told to us. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, Alan. I think the regulations, whatever suggested to be put into the ordinance, I believe they have to be around safety.
Right, I would say that, you know, I think we have consensus that we want the strictest regulations, unless we really have a big push by the businesses, which I've not heard one restaurant reach out to, none.
Well, actually, Uber Eats and all, they kill the restaurants. They charge so much that the restaurants are
Well,
really hurting.
That's,
Are
that's the
using Uber
irony,
Eats and
because
all.
Uber killed the taxis, and now,
Well, to Julio's point, though, he is correct that whatever regulations we impose, they have to be justified from a context of safety.
of course,
That's all we have, yeah.
Commissioner Lama, you had something else you wanted to add?
Yeah, so going back to these devices blocking the sidewalks, et cetera, what would happen in a scenario where one of them trips and falls over and is blocking one of the lanes in Collins Avenue? Can we, in that case, pick it up and tow it, because obviously it's blocking the lane. It is a safety issue. Then also, I would like to know if we could limit the amount of these devices in the city. Because when they came and dumped this whole bunch of them, I mean, they were everywhere. They were blocking lanes, they were idling everywhere. It was just like an invasion. I felt like I was in a movie, like a sci-fi movie.
You could move them. I mean, if they're blocking the way, you can move them.
You
They
can
fall
move
over in
them,
the
yeah.
street, you can move them. I
And-
don't know
and-
about limiting the number of units they can use, though, but I mean,
I mean,
again,
based
if,
on the amount of restaurants we have, I mean, can we?
again, it would have to lead to say, so let's say they have 3,000 of them, right?
Yeah.
Which would be a ridiculous number to have in the city.
That-
And they
that's
would
my
be
point,
right.
yeah,
But we don't have that situation here. You know, if they have 24, from a safety standpoint, I don't know that we could limit it. But again, a lot of it's uncharted territory. So we'd have to look at that and see exactly. I don't know that, you know, perhaps with the registry, we'd know how many they're operating. But I mean, we can always try.
Yeah, and my question is, are these devices registered anywhere with the state, any entity, any organization, or they're just floating around, like
cor-
off the grid?
The corporation, so they do have an office they're nationwide, but they do have an office in Miami-Dade County, so they do hold a Miami-Dade County tax receipt.
Okay,
So they are
that's a
registered with
start
the
then.
state, and they have a county tax receipt from what we've been told.
Okay. All right, thank you.
all
Thank
right,
you.
thank you.
And if you want, I can distribute to you by email. It's a short statute, what they're required by state law to have. So at least you'll have a list of what actually is required as of today.
Okay.
So I
Could
can
send that maybe
Thank you.
to everyone?
Yeah, I'm going to send it to all of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, Mauricio?
The next item is 3D, a discussion by Commissioner Joseph regarding the feasibility of a property tax rebate program for qualified seniors.
Yes, thank you. So I'm proposing to follow the city of Hialeah regarding rebates to seniors over 65 who have an income of $37,694 or less and also have homestead exemption. In Hialeah, they discovered that there were 6,635 families that come under those guidelines. I believe in Sunny Isles we have a lot less than that, but I haven't had the opportunity to speak to someone who would have those figures. Also, they accomplished the rebates of approximately $539 per eligible resident by early payment of early pension payments. Now, I also haven't spoken to Tiffany yet, but it's something to look into regarding what our provisions are for early pension payments and how much that might save the city that we could put towards this project. If there is any money that could be saved, then I think this would be ideal for low-income people in our city. I don't believe in Sunny Isles we have close to 6,500 people that are low income, but you never know. And also claim homestead.
Okay,
I have a question.
yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Can you explain the pension part? I didn't understand
So
that.
apparently there are savings that were achieved by making early pension payments. Dan, I asked you earlier regarding our pension program. Do you know how our pension program works?
Mr. City Manager, can you clarify what what that means? Because I'm not following either, how our pension program would relate to this.
We participate in the Florida retirement system,
Right.
so I'm not sure how it's related to if they're indicating some type of savings. I don't know. We would have to research that.
Okay, so if we could look into that, and also, is there any way to know how many low-income people we have in Sunny Isles that claim homestead? There has to be some means of finding that out because Hialeah came up with a number.
Can I ask, though, as far as Hialeah is concerned, either from the city manager or the city attorney, what exactly are they doing there? Because this seems like it's
Yeah, so we started
Very
looking into this
doable.
because if you recall, Commissioner Stuyvesant had brought up a similar issue with the city of Miami back this summer, so we started looking into it. We as a firm and you know, from a legal standpoint. I have, you know, I talked to the city of Hialeah city attorney. I've looked at their legislation, and unfortunately, you can't do what they're doing. They can't either. But so what they're doing is there's two. Without getting into a big dissertation about it, you have no taxing authority, inherent taxing authority. Your sole taxing authority is conferred to you by the Florida Constitution and Florida statutes. The method by which the rebates, the whatever you want, anything dealing with taxation, ad valorem taxation, is strictly dictated by state law. You have no other authority besides that. So here, what Hialeah, we'll use as an example, is doing is you have two, and you've already maxed this out in your ordinances. You have, folks over 65 have one tax exemption, homestead exemption, that they can take advantage of. There's an additional one that you can have if you've been in your residence for 25 years or longer. What Hialeah is doing is saying, well, that's not fair, because a lot more people sort of are eligible for the first, but not the second. So if you're not eligible for the second, but you're available for the first, we're going to give you a rebate check, or a stimulus check, they call, to make up that difference, because we don't think it's fair. You can't do that. That is a complete circumvention of the Constitution, and you just don't have the authority to do that. And still waiting to hear back from the city of Miami. We've made some contact with their attorney's office, but we haven't heard back. But unfortunately, especially using ad valorem dollars, you can't circumvent the Constitution and the state statute on that.
So what's happening with Hialeah? It's
I'm not going to talk for Hialeah. I can just tell you, after speaking with them and reading, that they can't do that.
So have they implemented it or not?
It passed second reading. I can't, speak again as to why they're doing it. I mean, if you look at the first, I think you've seen it, the first whereas clause of their ordinance speaks volumes, I think, but legally, it's just, you can't. But
So who's stopping them?
I don't know that anybody is.
So if you're saying they can't legally do it, but they're doing it and no one's stopping them from doing it, then it has to be within the law.
No.
No. If you
It
commit a
doesn't.
crime, but you don't get
Well,
caught, it doesn't make it
okay.
legal.
I wouldn't recommend you doing it, because it would be a violation of the law. And the thing is to take the position that we can do it because we're going to get away with it is probably not a good position to be in either.
I have a question. So let's say we want to waive our portion of the property taxes for seniors. We can't do that either? We can't.
The only control you have with regards to taxation is your millage rate. You want your tax base to go down is your millage rate. That's what
Well,
the law allows.
we already
you.
have the lowest on that.
Right. So
And
that's
this is what he's saying, like, what we're able to do, we've already maxed it out.
So your code already provides both exemptions for the 65 and older, and also the extended one, additional for 65 plus 25 years in residence. There's a myriad of other ones, I think, for some veterans and things like that. So you've maxed all that out in your code of ordinances, and that's what's permitted by the Florida Constitution and the Florida statutes.
The Florida Constitution wouldn't allow us to come up with another exemption.
No, because what happens is, so that all has to go to the voters of Florida, right? So if a couple years ago, they tried to do that to make some changes to the homestead exemption, for example, and
Yeah, I
it has to go to the voters. It's got to go through the process. It literally has to go through a constitutional amendment. And what these types of programs are trying to do is sort of circumvent that, not go through that process and take money and sort of give it on the back end. Okay, pay your taxes, but once you've paid them, I'm going to pay it back to you. And you just can't do that.
Okay.
So a city can't give rebates to residents?
Not for ad valorem taxation, no. And
Okay.
typically, in the
And
other
why don't you
aspect,
call
we
it
did.
something else.
But you're still, it's, if it looks like a, it is. The problem is that also, the other aspect of it is there has to be a municipal purpose. And if you come back and you're giving out certain stimulus checks to only a set of individuals, it's really a private donation or a private rebate back to certain individuals. There's no municipal purpose. That has to be, that's part of the issue. And I think the article you attached to your item also speaks of that issue, the problem with the fact that it's a private, essentially a private donation and not a municipal purpose.
Okay.
I think we'll have to see what happens at the
Well,
state
we'll
level.
have to see what
with property
happens,
taxes.
and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah, I
Yes.
I agree with Vice Mayor,
I'm-
just
I'm
because
sure
you
if
don't
there's
get caught
something-
with it,
I
make
can't-
it legal.
Yeah, I'm
sorry,
sure
I
if there's
can't-
something illegal, it's going to somehow be reversed, and
They'll
if
come
not,
for you,
then...
Jerry.
You'd be surprised. But I can't speak to the city of Miami because I still haven't made contact with them and have the full documentation. Theirs may be a little bit different. So I can only speak to Hialeah because that's who I've interacted with and who I've seen. But I know it was similar in Miami, but I don't have all the specifics there.
Okay.
So do you think within the next month you'll have more information?
That's in Miami. I mean, we keep trying to contact them, so hopefully we'll be in contact with them.
So is there also a 3-month issue for me bringing this back next month?
Is there for discussion items?
If you have
Yeah, I
further
think so.
information?
I mean, I'm still looking into it because, again, Commissioner Stuyvesant had raised this issue back this summer. So
Right, I think
we
that
were
if the city
actively
attorney
looking
can
into it.
send us by email, and if
Yeah.
there's anything to discuss, we can discuss it.
So we can bring
Yeah.
it back?
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
If there's
absolutely.
anything further.
If there's something to
Okay.
discuss. It's 4:13, is anyone opposed to keep going? Good?
Keep going, yeah.
Okay, next item, please.
Okay.
Next item is 3E, a discussion by Commissioner Joseph regarding car carriers in residential neighborhoods.
Yeah, so I brought this up several times before. We've had several, I don't know if the pictures are attached, but we've had several large car carriers sitting on 186th Street off Collins, and they just come and pick up from the Porsche building and other buildings in that locale. And the same thing as we were discussing for these mobile carriers, we should be able to set some time of day when these car carriers come around. Are we, regarding code enforcement, are we able to set some time frame as far as the time of day? And I know we've been trying to set a location, but they just come in and stop anywhere.
Mr. City Manager, would you remind me, please, because we talked about this before. Where did we end up with this? Because I know we were very limited.
The last discussion that we had, we presented you some options for locations,
Right.
and there was no agreement from you, so that's where it ended. However, that being said, we do enforce this through not just parking, but also if it's a potential for blocking traffic, the police department has issued citations, and parking always issues citations.
Yes. And I'm looking to raise the fines as well, if we could.
I have
Is
a
that
question.
a possibility?
Let,
To raise the fines?
The fines that we're operating under now, I believe, are set by the county. So we wouldn't be able to raise those. And then the state ones, obviously, we can't raise. If you ultimately pass an ordinance with separate regulations, you could have some flexibility there, but you're also limited under Chapter 162 Florida statutes as to how much you can charge. It's limited.
Would you, if everyone's in agreement, would you look into it to see what's the most stringent enforcement we can have?
$500 is the maximum.
Okay, so what do we have currently?
Nothing, because you don't have an ordinance.
Okay.
What you have currently is what the county provides and what the state provides.
Okay, so please, is everyone
Hold on,
for-
Commissioner Joseph, and Vice Mayor had a question.
Can vehicles stay overnight in a spot?
What do you mean, a
Park,
spot?
you mean?
On a right-of-way, you mean, a street?
Yeah, well, I saw on North Bay Road and, in front of Plaza of the Americas, there's like a very wide, the yellow lines like in the middle. And sometimes some cars are dropped off there. But this one was there overnight, and I wasn't sure if
The
that
car
was
or the truck?
the truck.
Oh, that's not,
Was it operating? Was it
No.
on? Was it? So we'd have to look at
Yeah.
each situation differently under state
so
statute.
that needs to
but-
be called in.
So is that something that, does anybody know?
Well, it could, again, without having all the specifics, I couldn't tell you
well, it would
A
probably-
big semi-truck with the things, that carries cars, but it didn't have any cars. It stayed
No, but
overnight
it's
in the-
specific location, and we'd have to look at state statute, we'd have to also look at the county parking.
I've seen
and
them
all
by
that.
the school, where the cars drop off and pick up the kids. I seen those delivery cars, those delivery trucks kind of sitting there, delivering trucks there.
But not left there, someone is in there.
I might have seen one just parked there.
I mean, somebody
Yeah.
could have been in the other one, because,
Right.
they do sleep there. They have sleeping quarters in the.
So are
whatever.
we in agreement that we want to look at some sort of ordinance?
Yes.
Yes.
I think our police department could give us a little more information on this to see if, there are some that stay overnight.
I think
parked,
that's code, actually.
or code, or.
It should be,
Ask the city
it's actually a
manager.
combination of both.
Okay, so,
I think that guy got away with it if no one called it in.
Yeah.
Because that's not right to have that happen.
Mr. City Manager, just a question as to, what is your opinion on us putting together some sort of ordinance as far as, the feasibility of it being enforceable? Because I know that that's always a question.
We had something drafted. We can look at it, update it, and bring it back to you.
Okay.
May I? But it goes back to the first question that was never answered. I mean, are we gonna?
Where would they stand?
Where are they gonna be able to?
Right.
Are we gonna have assigned locations where they
Yeah,
drop
that's,
these off?
Well, you
I
can
mean, we
come
haven't
to,
answered that
yeah, you
question.
can, that, if we come up with an ordinance now, that won't be a component of it, because you can't identify a place that you want it to happen.
No, that's what I'm saying. We, as a body, we need to identify and give the staff direction.
If you want that part of the ordinance.
Yeah, I think it's
so for
important,
the
yeah.
north end of the city, is it feasible under the causeway?
No.
They can't turn around.
Mm-mm.
And
No?
the other issue, which we talked about when code was in the academy, that often, even with the fines, like, yeah, we can impose more and try to make it more uncomfortable for them, but at the end of the day, they'll just pay it and keep doing what they're doing. And for them, it becomes the cost of doing business, and then they'll just increase the fees. If somebody's having a Lamborghini delivered, they can afford, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we can try. I think it's worth looking into it if we can actually land on the same page.
But I mean, here, we
but-
have a safety issue. They're blocking the entire street. I mean, kids are coming by on scooters.
I don't disagree
and
with you. I don't
Cars
disagree
coming
with
by,
you.
pedestrians, you can't see. When a car comes to pass on the wrong side of the street, you cannot.
Right, but
see
as it stands right now, Mr. City Manager, correct me if I'm wrong, if one of them are standing like this blocking the traffic, code can come and tell them to move, and they can be cited as is. We
Yeah,
don't,
they have been
Well,
cited.
Right.
again, under state law, you can deliver, unfortunately, between Amazon trucks, UPS, car carrier, whatever. They're heavily protected under state statute, so they can drop off their wares. If they're there too long, obviously, we've been ticketing them, but
so what would
we
an
can't
ordinance
just
do
prevent
then?
them from doing it.
What would an ordinance do then if we are preempted from?
Again, to the commissioner's point, there may be time restrictions as to when you can do
I
it.
see.
You want to do location. We could try to set our own rates of, instead of just citing them for parking under what we use for the county, potentially, we could have our own schedule. I think it's, Julio can correct me, I think it's either Town of Palm Beach or Palm Beach.
It was Palm Beach.
I think it was Palm Beach. They have an ordinance where they have a fee structure like that, so.
Right, but we got
so
stuck
they've had
with the
some
location.
success. I'm sorry?
We got stuck with the location.
Yeah.
That's when we
Yeah, yeah.
stopped the conversation. Hi, Julio.
Hello again. Yes, that's correct. The proposed ordinance that I had brought forward pretty much revolved, and the centerpiece of it, the component of it, was to have a specific location and certain times where they could drop off and not, but
We couldn't come to an agreement,
because
so,
we're very limited in
Right.
space.
right. Okay.
Okay, so do we have anywhere around by Heritage Park that we could have a drop-off area, a pickup area?
We've looked at, the only viable options that we saw from everything we brought forward to you as like potential, and not that we thought necessarily it was great, it was really up to you to let us know whether those would even be viable, but our city, as you know, is very limited with all of this, so.
Well, the thing
that's
is, the
where-
owner of the vehicle drives to where the car carrier is. So it's just a matter of finding a safe spot for that's not going to cause any type of traffic issue, and it's more a safe location, and then the owner drives to where they are. So it's just a matter of the communication between the truck driver and the owner. So we just have to find the spot where they can go, and then, put out word that this is our city north end or south end safe area. I know on North Bay Road, because you have that wide area in the yellow, that is a safe spot. It may not be
And you
pretty
can
looking.
count on my no. for
I
that
know,
spot.
but I'm just saying, we have to have, we have to have some safe areas. That happens to be a safe area because it doesn't block the roadway.
So, yeah, I don't know if we're going to come to an agreement with that, because it brings us right back to where we were, what was like 6
Because you
months
also
ago.
have to do it in a logical,
So
you have to, it might not look pretty, but it's logical.
I think we can start potentially with the fines to see if there's anything that can be done, Mr. City Manager. But as far as the location,
Well,
it's
I know
going to be not in
186th
my
Street
backyard with everyone.
off
So
Collins it's totally unacceptable spot.
every spot
so-
is unacceptable.
Well, I think if we put our heads together, we can find a northern spot that's safe and out of the way. And if it's out of the way, it doesn't matter if it's a little inconvenient for the truck driver, because like I said, it's a matter of safety.
No. I agree with you, Commissioner. I don't think that's the issue. The issue is that it would be an inconvenience to the residents of that area. But
Well, over by Heritage Park, I don't know, is a large truck able to pull in by
So
the,
again,
by
all
Heritage
of the
Park?
potential viable areas we brought forward to you, and that is indeed the challenge. You are correct. That is the challenge. And to your point, Madam Mayor, is the citations in the proposed ordinance in order to issue a violation, a citation or a $500 fine through code enforcement. It revolved around not parking in the designated area. That would have been the violation, but without a designated area,
right,
we really don't
There's no
they can
have
violation.
defeat it.
the
yeah.
violation.
Right.
Right.
If may I?
Go ahead.
Just bring us 1, 2, 3, whatever designated areas, and we vote for it. Some people's
Yeah.
gonna be happy, some people's gonna be
Let's try to
upset.
find
We
But
can
the,
bring back
but
the
the
same
reality
ones.
is that we're gonna have to sadly pick a place, the one that makes the more sense, and deal with it.
Okay.
So it's
Someone
just,
who's
it's the way it goes.
aware of viable areas, let's, bring those areas to us, and let's decide on them.
I can
Yeah,
bring those
absolutely,
back.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
I can bring them back.
do we have consensus to bring it back? We just lost Commissioner Lama.
Yes, I believe he was reasonable with it. So,
Again,
Well, I think if you guys are eyeing North Bay Road, I'm gonna say no on the consensus.
Right.
well, so where else is there on the south
don't
end?
know.
No, I don't
Okay,
think we're,
so we
we're
have
gonna,
to,
we're not gonna be able to have that
Okay.
conversation.
so we have to have a few viable areas that,
whichever they are, including
Yeah.
North Bay Road, if that's the only one, and if
Mhm.
that's the one that makes sense, is the one that is gonna get chosen. So, like, again, just bring whatever makes sense,
We'll bring
and let
them
us
back.
make that decision with the information, an informed decision.
right.
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, we're not gonna be able to do
No.
absolutely anything,
So-
correct?
so do we have consensus?
186th Street off Collins is not a viable area.
Mm.
We know that because you can't get two cars past if there's a large truck there. It's just so unsafe.
Well, Collins, you also have FDOT. It's not our road, so we wouldn't be able to do Collins.
No, not Collins. This is, they're sitting
I
on
thought you said
186th
Collins.
Street off Collins. Yeah.
Commissioner Lama, the discussion is whether there's a consensus to bring back the discussion to vote on an actual location to drop off. Remember, if you remember, we couldn't come to a consensus
Yes,
last time.
yes.
You want to bring it back?
Yes.
Okay.
Great, okay.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
we'll have something for next month.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next item.
Next item is 3F, a discussion by Commissioner Joseph regarding the Central Island drainage injection wells.
Okay, so at the agenda review, I had a discussion with the city manager regarding pervious concrete, and he had said to me that we couldn't use pervious concrete because at times of high tide, there would be nowhere for the water to seep through the concrete and nowhere for it to go because the water level would be high. But now, I found out today that we've spent almost $800,000 on Central Island fixes, which have not gotten us anywhere. And these injection wells, would they not, Mr. City Manager, would they have not have the same problem with the high water line as the pervious concrete?
They go deeper.
Where would you pump the water at high tide?
Mr. City Manager, are you understanding the question?
I think so. The injection wells are deep into the earth.
But you have high tide, so where would you pump the water?
Below.
The level is going to be high at that time.
No, it's below.
It's into the aquifer.
You're going down so low in the aquifer, you're beyond that saturation level. You're below the saturation level.
Yeah, but then that's where you have the limestone. You can't power force water into it destroys the limestone. And that's our foundation.
You have to talk to the city engineer.
What is your request, Commissioner? What is your request?
My request is to look into having pervious concrete and also removing some of the soil around the areas on North Bay Road that are impervious to water because when they were originally constructed, no one removed the gravel. And I know that that's a fact from putting my election signs in. You cannot get them in the ground because you have all that gravel still there. If we spend not a large amount of money for clean fill, we can even obtain clean fill from developers that are building houses in Golden Shores and they have nowhere to put their the fill they've removed for their foundations. We can remove some, with our city equipment, we can remove in our right-of-ways the soil and make that more pervious to water and save our sewers and allow for more infiltration of water rather than runoff into our sewers. Also, I understand that our new city engineer has not reviewed yet the injection well issue, and I would like to, before we spend any money on the injection wells, have a review by our city engineer that we would be privy to. Is that all right, Mr. City Manager?
It's up to the commission at this point. We've
Yeah.
discussed this for a long time. We've come
Right.
up with a viable solution.
So,
If each one of you has a different idea, we could consider all your ideas and put our drainage project on hold.
well, it was on hold for many years because no one moved forward with it, and the expense just got outrageous.
Right, so we wisely went back, looked at the plan, revised it, updated it, came up with a
Yes.
viable solution, which we're trying to implement, which
We
you
don't know if that's a
approved.
solution.
It is a solution.
Well,
It's definitely a solution.
the engineer hasn't even reviewed it yet.
It
so-
has been reviewed by engineers.
Well, I was told today it was not reviewed by the engineer.
It's been reviewed by numerous engineers to move it forward. At this point, our recommendation is to move forward with it.
Well,
Commissioner
start
Lama,
debating
you
it.
had something
we
to
don't
say?
even, how much is it, how much is the cost on it? Do we have a number?
Says,
No, Commissioner, I'm sorry, we do not have a number
So
on
then
it.
how can
It
we
is-
move forward?
It's still in the design process and the permitting process, which is where we're at. So we don't have any firm numbers yet. It's part of the process.
So if it's in the design process, how has it been reviewed by anyone?
That is part of the process. So the engineer that designs it, and then we have our engineers and our, for permitting, not just ours, Miami-Dade County and the state
Okay.
DEP have to review those.
Right, so you're going to be pumping polluted water into our aquifer. Is that what I just heard?
This is
No.
no. Mayor, is there anything further?
No,
you'd like-
I
Okay.
stepped away. Okay, next item?
I just wanted to mention that I mean, I can meet individually with the engineer and with the city manager and ask questions, so, yeah.
Well, I would like to do that as well.
Well, you
but-
could do that, yeah.
Okay.
So we all have that availability. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing stops through the manager for you to be able to have those conversations as long as it's facilitated
Well,
by the manager.
yeah.
Then, yeah.
So, yeah, but don't we have to vote on this project going forward?
What do we,
Yeah.
So when would that occur?
you're talking about Central Island?
We've already spent $800,000.
I cannot determine the time that Durham, other agencies are going to take to review something. So I cannot give you an accurate timeline right now. This is a major project that involves several different agencies. So I can't speculate at that right now.
That we already gave direction, right? We gave direction.
Yes.
You gave us direction in the past to pursue the potential for injection wells opposed to the $56 million pump station option.
Okay.
Okay, next item?
Next item is 3G, a discussion by Commissioner Lama regarding codification of a subsidence monitoring requirement.
Yeah. Obviously, this is a hot topic right now, given everything that's happened in the city. But when I went to Tallahassee with the Florida League of Cities, I met with the DEP. You know, I brought this issue up, and he connected me with the head of the Florida Geological Survey. So we had a conversation. I was trying to understand what the state is doing as far as subsidence, sinkholes, etc. And what the head of the Florida Geological Survey told me is that they do keep track of these, let's say, issues, but only if they are reported. So nobody's actively monitoring if there's any, let's say, issues or there's any risk, or they could see that there is some sort of subsidence happening, or if there is a risk of some sort of, settlement, etc., continuous settlement. So what I was thinking of, and I think it will be good if we could codify something into our building requirements where when it comes to new developments, we do tell the developer that they must monitor for subsidence for 2 to 3 years. I mean, we could discuss that. This is an overall idea that I was thinking about, okay?
How about during the construction as well?
Well, during and after.
Mhm.
Yeah, during and after. So if we could codify that. And then also, there's buildings that have been built way before the 70s, 80s, where I don't know how they were built. I don't know if they had pylons going down, etc. I think that we have to be, as a city, we have to be monitoring that as well. We have a lot of seawalls going on. There's a lot of things going on. And from what I understand, that a lot of the land that we see here in Sunny Isles Beach has been dredged. A lot of it was just basically
Filled in.
Everglades, and it was a lot of fillings and everything. So I think that is a must that we, as a building department, as a city, we do impose some sort of requirements with these developers for any new development. And then also, you know, for older developments where obviously the developer doesn't exist anymore, you're talking about Winston Towers, Arlen House, et cetera, where we do monitor what's going on with, you know, underneath. So I think that this warrants further discussion, but it needs to be, you know, considered, and I think something needs to be implemented, for sure. Because we're a barrier island, not that I am putting into question the current construction, but I think that it's always, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry, and be cautious.
Well, if I could just add something. So in January, I had, regarding the Miami Beach project, I had asked for a 3-month postponement for Ocean 2 and Armani to work with the developers to come to some agreement regarding the vibration effects to their buildings and other issues. The commission gave them a 1-month delay, and in February, the commission, even though that the developers in good faith did not come to any agreement with with Ocean 2 or Armani, and even to this day they have not done anything, the commission went ahead and with my no vote, I was the only no vote, the commission went ahead and approved the project. So I just want the commission to know that you did not do the right thing by the residents of Armani and Ocean 2, and there was no good faith on the part of the developers to make any agreements as to the safety of Ocean 2 or Armani during their construction.
Well, they did agree to certain things, but remember that.
No,
that
they
part
have
of the-
not.
Jerry,
I
remember-
found out that
Hold on,
to this
hold on.
date, there's not been any
Let's,
movement on the part of the developers to quell the you know, whatever you know, safety issues the residents have regarding their buildings during the construction.
thank you, Commissioner, but I want to stick to the agenda item.
Okay, so
Commissioner Lama, what
so-
exactly are you asking for?
So basically, I want to see if for any new developments, we could codify something where the developer is required to monitor the construction for vibration, any damages or any issues to the adjacent, let's say, properties, et cetera, and then also to continue to monitor for any post-completion subsidence, to that building, to the newly built building, and to the neighboring areas. Then also, I would like to see if we could monitor for any issues with the older buildings, talking about the Arlen House, Winston Towers, et cetera. Now, when I spoke to the DP and I spoke to the head of the Florida Geological Survey, there's monies that we could probably tap into from the state, from the Department of Economic Development, the Department of Economic Opportunities. I think they just changed their name. I forgot the name. But there is some appropriations that we could tap into. And we should have further discussions about this, I believe.
Mayor, if I may, so a couple questions. So we can certainly look at.
Nobody's monitoring this.
I know,
actively.
but because it's all part of the Florida Building Code. They need to change the Florida Building Code. The problem is that you can't add to the building code locally. There's a few issues, and we can discuss it and see what parameters, but for example, for codification, even if you couldn't impose on a developer building a new building a requirement for them to monitor neighboring properties on somebody else's property. They're solely It's solely limited to their particular site, right?
What about with the agreement of their neighbors?
That you can't codify that. You can't require them to do that because state law doesn't allow you to do that. You don't have that authority. The Florida Building Code dictates how that building gets built, unfortunately. And that's why, look, after Hurricane Andrew, right, the huge changes to the Florida Building Code because of what was learned there. But locally, you're very limited as to what you can do. Again, we'll look into it to see what possibly we can do. With the other aspect with the older buildings, we, the city, can't do any monitoring for a variety of reasons. One, because you're imposing a huge, huge liability on yourself, because if you start monitoring buildings, one, you don't have the expertise or the equipment, and even if you did, if you miss something in an old building and something happens, you're responsible as a city. So you're imposing a duty on yourself that you'd never want to undertake. So that's another aspect of it too, with regards to the cost of the equipment and then the expertise to be able to monitor that. There's a lot of, my understanding is a lot of false positives with this data. So it's really a lot of times it's on site at the moment, as was explained during the hearing, where you've got a big truck passing by, you're gonna get a huge spike on your Geiger counter. And unless you have data indicating what caused that, it's a lot of false positives. So we can look at, I mean, I've already spoken to the building official about it. He was skeptical being able to do anything beyond the Florida Building Code, but we certainly can look into it. But we are heavily constrained.
But let's say, can we impose on that building that's being built by a developer? Let's say building A is being built by developer X. Can we impose for them to monitor any subsidence, any, what's there right now in the code? Is there anything in the code, including the Florida code, that will monitor for subsidence?
Well, it would be their own,
vibrations
it would be potentially their own building once it's built. But there's nothing in the Florida Building Code or your city code can impose something on, if I'm building on site A, that I have requirements for site B or site C next to me. So they could monitor their own.
So let's forget about the neighbors. Let's talk only about that building being built. I'm worried about subsidence. I'm worried about the foundation being built correctly, et cetera, et cetera.
That's Florida Building Code.
Okay, so the Florida Building Code does impose, and we, with our building department, obviously we're tasked with imposing Florida Building Code.
We enforce
and following. Okay, so we enforce it. So we could enforce on that building, building A, that there's no subsidence, that, you know, the foundation's done correctly, et cetera, et cetera.
If it's in the Florida Building Code, yes, absolutely. That's what your building official is for.
Do we know if it's, I mean, there's got to be something.
Yeah, your building official lives and breathes the Florida Building Code daily.
Okay, so I would like to see what exactly we impose on these developers, and
We enforce.
and then we enforce the building. No, I understand that, but I think we need to be, you know, we're Barrier Island. Obviously, limestone is basically a bedrock in Florida, South Florida specifically. So I think we need to see what, as a building department, we could monitor. Now, let's say we cannot impose extra cost because the Florida Building Code does not allow us to do that, right? To a developer or to a builder. What can we do as a city? Because if we choose to say, you know what, our building department is going to contract out with a geological expert to start monitoring this. I understand that you have the concern for any liability.
Yeah, you don't want to start monitoring something you don't control. Because it could be, you know, you are creating a duty that you do not have.
But we are monitoring
We
the
can't
things that we
impose the
control.
additional code.
You're not monitoring any of that.
I mean, our building department goes out and monitors how the electrical is being done in the building, how, I mean, in a way, that's what our building department does.
Not the way it was built. They don't go back and retro inspect buildings to see how they've been built or if the electrical is proper or anything else. If an issue comes up, they deal with that particular issue. But we don't go back and check. We don't even go, you know, if there's cracking or things of that sort, there's a limitation, we can go and take a look. But essentially, you have geotechnical folks that would have to look at that are completely beyond what the city can do.
But what about if the city contracts that out?
But
And
again,
every 2 years or every year, we take a look at, what our island is doing, what the surface of the island is, what's happening with it.
you mean just from the right of way or from the
No,
private
I'm
property?
talking for everything.
Well, no, you can't go on private property and just do it. It's private property.
But when a property comes before us for approval, we have that short window, like what happened with Miami Beach property, where they agreed to do monitoring.
Jerry, I'm talking about
vibration
more
monitoring.
I'm talking about more of a holistic approach to
I mean,
this,
as you-
because,
as you
I'm
saw-
concerned
That's
about
not gonna
everything,
happen.
yeah.
As you've
because
seen with
it's
the
not within
projects
the
coming
building
through
code.
now, your developers apparently are very well aware of the fact that if they want an approval, they're going to need to do some monitoring, right? So whether it's the Bentley or whether it's the Miami Beach
But
Club,
for instance, we impose, no, they offered.
They
the
volunteered,
monitoring.
yeah.
They volunteered, yeah. Mhm.
so, but again, a developer, I think, is well aware at this point with these two developments that we're dealing with, and I presume the same with St. Regis, that if they want to build in the city, they want to get an approval, they're going to have to do some monitoring in order to, for the neighbors' benefits as well as what you all want, and they know to volunteer that.
I'm just surprised that in the state of Florida, the DEP, the Geological Survey, nobody's actively monitoring for this. And they just have a database where it is based on reporting. If somebody reports it, they'll put it in the database. There's a little map where you could see, sinkhole activities, et cetera, settlement. But they're really not monitoring. They do monitor for construction, but yeah, it's not active. It's really based on, it's really based on reporting.
And again, there may be, I
And
believe there is.
it's really,
I believe there is.
I don't understand why
I
not.
believe there is in the building code some provisions with regards to vibration monitoring and things of that sort, but we'll certainly look into it. Look, to
Can
the
we look
extent-
into that
yeah,
and have
to the
further
extent-
discussion on this? Because whatever we could do, I'd like to max it out.
Yeah,
And-
whatever we
yeah.
can do, we can figure out the maximum of what we possibly can do.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring that back to you, and that way you can see what, we can or
It's
cannot
called
do.
lobbying.
I know.
That's why.
Well, we could lobby
To the
too.
answer, yeah.
Well, safety is.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm
we
there
need
with
to
you,
worry about safety,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I'm
remember,
there with you, yeah.
Florida is a very, very development-friendly state.
Loving again, yes.
I understand. SB 180. Yeah, I understand that, but we need to,
Live local.
push back and fight the good fight and, look out for residents, so,
Yeah, we can certainly look into
yeah.
what we can do.
Okay.
All right, next item.
Yeah, this
George?
is, again, building, and this again goes back to safety, making sure that the residents are protected and the city's protected from, development that is not done correctly and some issues that have to do with it. So, looking at the building process, right? And I'm not talking in this, particular sense about, the huge developments, like the Bentley, et cetera. So I'm talking about, people remodeling their apartments, their homes, et cetera. I would like to understand the application process, because there is a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of contractors that don't have the skills to do what they're doing, and then they hire all these, day laborers, et cetera, that obviously are not doing quality work and can put us residents in danger and the city in danger and open up, for liability. Now, talking about contractors, and this is a big issue in South Florida, is that a lot of the contractors will lease out their license number, okay? So that is a big issue. So going back to the start, right, when we have an application, what I would like to see, and I don't know if this is done already, I had a preliminary conversation with Stan and with Dylan about this, but what I would like to see is when a homeowner asks for an application or their contractor, what I would like to see first and foremost is that the contractor that signs it is actually a manager or a partner in that, that firm. And that could be checked in some biz. Okay, that's easy to check. And then they will have to acknowledge that they are not allowed, we need to have them sign some sort of acknowledgement that they are not allowed to lease out their license number to anybody else. They will have to do the job. Another thing for residents too is that when they sign these applications, both residents and also the contractor that has the license number, I would like to see that they both sign it, like some sort of acknowledgement. Also that there's a sheet, like a resources sheet that could tell the resident what resources they have to investigate the contractor. So it could give them time, and they could go to different websites to see if this contractor has any litigation, how many open permits they have, any issues that they've had in the past, okay? And then what else? Hold on, I have a whole bunch of notes, but I'm ad-libbing it. Hold on. So that, and also our building department to do some research on these contractors, because we obviously do not want a contractor that is not qualified to be doing work here in the city, because I have been witness to many things that are terrible in the city. And by terrible, I mean safety issues where people could have died, it could have caused major damage, or major, you know, people could have been hurt, basically, okay? So if there's any issues with litigation, I think that our building department should look into that, look into how many jobs they have out there, because then I think that will give us an indication if they are leasing out their license number, you know, because that's what a lot of contractors do. And then when it comes to inspections, especially when it comes to electrical or any issues that are really, really, you know, have to do with safety and people getting hurt or injured or even dying, God forbid, you know, I think that there's got to be some safety net, because I have seen our inspectors miss critical things. Electrical, where the whole electrical had to be rewired, okay, in certain jobs. And other things, that tiles in the bath, the walls of a bathroom were not even put with framing, okay, and they were all wobbly. And then the inspectors, you know, there's a half point, there's a midway point, where obviously there's like a preliminary inspection where there's different steps. Those inspections passed. So we need to have some sort of oversight where when it comes to these type of inspections that have to do with safety and with the well-being of you know, our residents, the inspector gets inspected, basically, okay? If they pass something that has to do with life safety, they need to, we need to have some sort of second step and a safety net. And then that's basically it. So I would like to continue this conversation to see how we could implement better systems within our building department. And I'm very happy that now we are accredited and we're improving now that we have a obviously new head of the building department. But yeah, when I witnessed some of these things that happen, I was shocked. I was very shocked. I don't understand how this happened. And then we as a building department,
Were you
as a
present
city,
at the inspection, or is this after the inspection?
I said what I had to say. I was not present, but I witnessed it afterwards. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I still don't understand how this happened, to be honest with you. It's very scary. Very, very scary. So, and then aside from that, you know, get a better system of reporting, letting the residents know what are the steps and what is missing when they have a project that is ongoing. So that way, you know, everybody's on the same page. And I know that a new system is being implemented. Some changes are being applied. So I'm happy about that. But But yeah, definitely see how we could block, contractors that are not supposed to be doing any work, and see how we can identify, when a contractor is leasing out their license numbers. We'll obviously have to talk to the DVPR. I don't know if there's some sort of systems in place, but also make these contractors and the residents, give the residents the tools to investigate about these contractors so they make the right decision. Yeah, give me a second. And then also make sure that, when a contractor signs that application, it is the manager that is listed on SunBiz, or somebody that's authorized to sign a contract. And they will have to sign some sort of acknowledgement that if they are leasing out their license number, they could get in big trouble, and they could even be banned from working in the city.
Before I open it up, because you said a lot, so thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that we all can agree that safety is paramount, but I think that there's also there's a balance of what we can and cannot do. And I'm not aware what exactly happened, but I imagine it was something very terrible.
It was terrible.
Mr. City Attorney,
couldn't believe it.
regarding some of the comments and questions by Commissioner, so that we can have a good conversation.
I think for the most part, to the extent that you're going to require someone, I mean, we do for our contracts, require someone that's authorized to sign for the company, that's not a problem. We could probably have an affidavit with regards to the leasing, that's not so much of an issue. The repercussions, though, from them violating that, the problem is that you can't block a contractor from working in the city, nor can you say yay or nay. I mean, certainly you can have all the materials for folks coming in for a permit as to what they can do, what they should do with regards to a contractor, what their protections are, what they can do to investigate them. We can't undertake those investigations because we can't pick winners and losers, because you can't go and say, well, don't use this contractor or use this contractor.
But we do give out a permit based on, because let's say we have a contractor that has a lot of violations, that we know that they're terrible, okay?
But
Or they're leasing out their,
that's your right to, you as a homeowner, it's your right to contract. I can't interfere with your right to contract. I could look at you and say you are the biggest idiot for hiring this person because they have this or that. Even if you look at litigation, a lot of contractors have litigation, and a lot of it isn't necessarily.
Yeah, I know litigation, anybody could sue anybody,
but you can't block someone from working in the city.
Can we give them a sheet of paper saying these are your resources? See if your contractor has, give them a website. You could find out if they are embroiled in any litigation. And this is a website to see how many jobs they have.
Absolutely.
Because when I did some research, some contractors have 300 jobs going on at the same time. There's no possible way they could have 300 jobs going on at the same time.
Unless
that
they're
actually
handing
you
their
can
numbers.
absolutely.
That's the point, exactly.
You can actually create a packet for your folks when they come in.
That's what I like to see.
All their
yeah.
resources.
Yeah.
The only thing you can't do really is, like I said, block or make recommendations, or because even if you, on the flip side, if you say, yeah, this contractor's okay, we've looked into it, and it's a pretty good contractor, and something goes wrong, well, the city told me they were good.
Right.
Well, I'm not saying that we tell them it's good, but tell them, listen, do your due diligence. These are the resources. Yeah. And also, when the contractor signs that application, they'll need to sign some sort of acknowledgement, both the contractor and the homeowner, that if that contractor is leasing out or selling their license number, they're open to, repercussions, right?
What are those repercussions? You don't.
No, but I'm sure that the state does not allow that. The DVPR does not allow to do that.
I don't.
No, they're not, by law, they're not allowed to lease out their license number.
Right, so, I mean, certainly, we can get it's like we do now. There's certain affidavits with all our contracts they have to sign. For example, now they have to, every contractor we go, not just anybody we do a contract with has to give us an affidavit that they're not involved in human trafficking. Right. And if the repercussion to that is we're in privity and contract with them, so if we find out they lied, contract's done.
Right.
Here in this case, if they sign that, that's fine, they're acknowledging they didn't do it. I don't know what kind of repercussions we would have.
Well, let's look into what I'm sure there's got to be the DVPR.
It would be up to the state, right? It would be up to the state.
Yeah, but they need to sign that, and obviously they need to understand what the
Commissioner, let
repercussions are.
Commissioner Stewart.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I actually brought this issue last year as a discussion item, not specifically clearly what you saw, but oversight and transparency. And we have the tools right now to have everything open. And it's a decision made here that is not allowing the people to have those access to that. So I write a memo for you guys, for everybody. I put some pictures over there of the software that, unless we change it, I believe is the software that we are using right now. So I'm gonna read a little bit. So it says, over the past year, I have repeatedly asked the administration to open our digital portals so that residents can automatically view building permits, inspections, and code enforcement records online. And every time I bring it up, I am met with the same exact excuse that making public records easily accessible is somehow a privacy or a security risk. In February 2025, during a discussion item brought by me, it was suggested by the staff that letting residents see basic building records online could lead to arson. The reality is that public records belong to the public.
Or theft.
Our residents should not have to fill out a public record request and wait days, even though the Mauricio's office is really good, by the way, to find out if a permit was legally pulled for the allowed construction next door or to check the status of a code violation in their own neighborhood. We are operating a 21st century software system with 19th century gatekeeping mentality. This commission approved a hefty contract for Granicus SmartGov software. We have it right now, in-house. Granicus literally advertises this software based on its citizens portal. Their own website states that SmartGov is designed to, and I quote, allow citizens to track permit status and review real-time inspection results 24/7 on any device for increased satisfaction and transparency. The SmartGov official manual has an entire section called Citizen Portal Public View. It explicitly details how a resident can simply type in an address or a parcel number and instantly see the permits and court history associated with that unit. The software has the capabilities built in today, and we're paying for it. The administration is simply choosing to keep that feature turned off to control the flow of information. Furthermore, if anyone wants to claim this is a privacy or security risk, I encourage you to look at Miami-Dade County DERM platform, which operates a completely open digital portal where anyone can search property records, violations, and permits anytime. I have used it several times, by the way. If the largest county in the state can operate with total digital transparency without compromising security, our city certainly can do the same. We need more transparency, not less. We do not need to control the information. It is a matter of public record, which, again, by definition, are public. Therefore, I make the same request to give us a timeline for our next meeting to fully activate the public-facing citizen portal on our existing SmartGov software, giving our residents the automatic digital access to basic building and code enforcement records that they have already paid for. You are asking for oversight. We have it. It just needs to be accessible for the people. That's it.
Yes.
Commissioner Lam, is that what you're asking for?
No, mine, I mean, no, mine is different. I mean, I would like to empower the residents and to make the residents aware. Well, it could be, because some of this information could be sitting there on the website, especially if, you know, the contractors have any litigation against them, see how many open permits.
That wouldn't be on the city website.
That wouldn't be on the city,
No.
but see if they have any violations, or how many open permits they have, if they were able to close those permits, et cetera, et cetera.
But
So,
the violations would be against the property owners. It wouldn't be against the
no, but violations against the contractor. I mean, if we could put that up in Granicus, or maybe there's already another website that has that
So
information.
to get
So-
clarification,
but-
I want to know,
We don't track,
We don't track.
Track violations.
no, the only violations it goes to the property owner, so
Yeah, it's the
the
property
fact
No,
that there's a
no, no, but I'm
contractor.
saying violations against the contractor if, or let's say open permits, if it's got open permits
You
and
have
they
to
haven't
check
been
each
able to
county
close them.
clerk.
What?
Some of these guys work in different counties. You'd have to track each county clerk.
Well, whatever, so my point is that I would like to see the homeowners, okay, that are looking to contract, some work out for remodeling their homes, their apartments, et cetera, be aware of certain resources, because people are not necessarily aware, right? Now, if we could, implement or include some of this stuff within Granicus, fine, but I mean, I will have to have further discussions,
Yeah, I
because
think
I think what Fabiola is asking for could be applied to some of what I said, but I'm not too clear on how. I would have to see.
Everybody should have access to it. Like, for example, if you see that your neighbor is doing such a bad job, only by going inside, you could see who is actually the contractor that he's using. So again, this information is out there, it's for the public, it's accessible. We are just choosing not to give it to the people.
Or if
Why?
someone's doing work without a permit.
Yeah, as well. So you know how many?
Well, it won't be-
what's
yeah,
it- but,
yeah.
but do you know how many people come to me telling me, "Oh, in this house they're doing certain jobs, blah blah blah," and they cannot go inside right now and check if they have a permit or not.
You could go. Yes, you can.
Not completely.
I-
They don't see the package or no. You can only have certain information. Everything is available, and we don't have access to. We're choosing not to give it to. Same thing with the code enforcement violations. I have people from the buildings telling me what's happening in my building. They have a code enforcement. I cannot get it. The association doesn't provide it to me. Same thing. It's available there, and they could have access to it. All these features are there. I requested back then when we had that discussion over a year ago to even one-on-one, if we want to, have the like a workshop or with the people of Granicus and the SmartGov, so you can actually understand what is it that is there.
This is
Because you
public
don't even
information
know.
that
It's
should be
public
released
records.
and
If
open.
you can get a public record and get that information, it is a public record. Okay, so why are we choosing? And I remember back then we have the conversation, oh, what if somebody has golden features in their homes and they don't want to put it out there? And also there are certain things that they are protected by law. Those are not going to be there anyway because they are protected. The rest, everything should be accessible if we have the capability for. We are choosing not to be transparent with the people by choice, and that's not good.
all right, I think we should stick to this conversation as to what Commissioner
It's part of
Lama is
it, too.
bringing up. I hear what you're saying. This is something that I think we've all asked for a number of years. At one point, I had asked the manager, do we have what you would call a blacklist? And I was
Not
told.
necessarily a blacklist, but like, just make
But
residents
is there,
aware.
but I wonder
also-
if there is even at the state level, besides like Better Business
Exactly,
Bureau,
like
there,
the
I don't think there
DBPR,
is. I don't think that there is, unfortunately. I think that it is by
Well,
design.
I think it warrants further discussion, and I'd like to also include what, some of, the points that, Fabiola made. And, I don't know, maybe we could have a workshop on this. Yeah. Or maybe it's something staff can, I'll have internal meetings with staff, with the building department, see how we could implement some safeguards and, safety nets for our building
Well, I
department,
think
for the residents.
we could have staff come before us and it could be open to all of us. And just,
Yeah,
rather
a
than just,
workshop, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want to be careful
And
that
just
we don't
hash it out.
create more barriers to building permits, because that's probably a
No, that's not
very
the- that's
big
not the
issue
point.
that
No,
I
no.
hear about, is people
Yeah.
taking us, actually the opposite, too long to approve, because we're making people go through a lot of hoops. So it can go either way.
That's not the point.
But
No,
I'd
no,
like to
that's
get
not
more
the point,
details
no.
as to what exactly you're
Yeah.
talking about,
Okay,
the life safety issue.
yeah.
Vice Mayor, did you have anything?
Yeah, no, that's it on this topic, and then I have the other
To
one.
Vice Mayor
Oh, sorry.
Oscar.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I understand, I mean, I think if I can summarize what you're saying is you would like to help people not be subjected to predatory contractors.
Exactly,
Okay, so,
exactly.
um,
And contractors that really shouldn't be doing any
listen,
work.
I think we've all
or
been
that
there.
People that are leasing their
Believe
license
me.
number, yeah. Mm-hmm.
when the building department asked me, my guy for a drawing, I thought he understood what that meant, and what I got was literally a lined notebook paper with pencil. And, you know, so I absolutely understand wanting to protect people from the predatory contractors. And there's no shortage of them but we whatever, like, we can talk about it another time, but I think we have to be careful. You can't target people, but you can.
No, it's not targeting.
You know what I think? You know what I think we need to do? We need to teach people the questions that they can ask
And that's.
to
that's
get the
point.
information.
Yeah, yeah.
The questions they can ask our building department to get where you want.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, which, I don't know, something like, because they can't make recommendations, but you can ask, what are, you know, I don't know, like the last 10 projects, or if you know there's a project you like or whatever, well, who was the contractor there, or, you know, there's
I think the
questions that I
resources
think
out
we
there,
can,
yeah.
if they're out there, then we give them the resource, but I think this is about predatory contractors.
Mm.
Can we just get, please go ahead.
Sorry, Mayor, I just wanted to remind you all that we need to be back here at
Yep.
6 PM for our
Oh, yeah, yeah.
planning
Oh.
agency meeting.
That's
So-
right.
So really quick, the last item, single-use plastic. I know that we're preempted by the state, but the reason I brought this up is because I went to the Publix in front of the Diplomat, and they didn't have any plastic bags. I need to research further, but I asked the cashier, she couldn't really explain, but she's like, oh, no, we don't have any plastic bags because like the beach is across from us. So I'm like, is it the city something? And she told me, yeah, it's the city. So I went, and Hallandale does have an ordinance about it. I understand it's preempted, but I wanted to see if, because of the, you know, proximity to the ocean, there's something that we could do with regarding single-use plastics or anything like that.
We can look into it, but the statute's pretty clear, especially for plastic bags. We
Yeah.
can't touch those, but we can look and see, yes.
And maybe.
Because obviously marine life, turtles, I mean, if there's some angle that we could use perhaps, I don't know.
But the,
I'll talk to them, but I don't
Okay.
think so.
I think maybe if with Hallandale, maybe it's something they had in place before preemption? Or
Yeah,
maybe
I'm
it's
not
one of
sure.
those
I
where,
will
and maybe
have
it's
to-
one of
I
those where
need
they
to give 'em a
passed it
call, yeah.
and they're doing
And
it and they're
passed
not
it and that's
supposed
it,
to.
yeah. Or
You
Publix
know.
is just volunteering not to use plastic.
They could be volunteering, but
yeah.
I know that Publix and Milam's probably does a better job in trying to point people to recycle those bags.
Yeah.
And they have made them a lot thinner than they used to be. You know, for me, it's always been what the consumer wants. I go to Publix, I force them to go and find the paper bags. And they stuff every single thing they possibly can in that one bag,
Yeah,
you know?
there's
But,
paper
so
bags
it's
there,
more
yeah.
about more people asking for it, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, obviously, anything that supports the environment. Okay.
And Commissioner, just to add, we use single-use plastics, you know, in this big range, but as you know, certain things fell through the cracks with the language that you saw, for example, straws, right? So you can regulate straws,
Yeah.
those types of things, but for the most part, if you're talking about plastic bags, it's pretty, but some things fell through the cracks.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did the plastic straws.
We did the plastic.
already, yeah.
All right, meeting adjourned. We'll see you all back here at 6 o'clock.